Thanks for joining the Q&A pod.
I'm super excited to be here, actually. And
it's fun. I liked it. There was a lot of really good questions last time, and I thought it would be good to have like different insight, not just mine, all the time, because I'm just one person with one opinion.
I also think it's cool too when you comment on a public forum. I know when I was in high school, I commented on like a cheer YouTuber's Q&A, and she answered it, and I felt so cool.
It's funny because competitions are starting in like 30 days.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about, because once you take out Thanksgiving break and you take out some of our long weekends, we have 8 practices maybe.
But I do feel like we're further along than we've ever been.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's a big testament to John and his choreography and just getting our routines done. Literally the first practice.
Well, I think one thing too this year is I feel like our teams were set up really well. Like the way we placed our teams were really strong.
Yeah.
And so even from jump, we've been great. Even Renegades, like our highest level team, are able to run routines basically opening to pyramid, and it looks easy for them, which is nice.
I was telling Aaron that I just feel like our kids are getting better every single year because they're getting more experience and they're going through this system. I think Mustang was so new, and I think now our kids are going from novice teams to prep teams to, going through the ranks of level 1, level 2 elite, and now they're finally at their proper elite teams, and I think they're just more consistent and they're more experienced and they've been able to do it more. And I think that's a real big testament of the system that we've tried to build.
By the time you get to Stallions or to Renegades or even to Chargers, there are things now that come second nature to our kids. They know how to do a prep, they know how to fix a grip, and we're not having to teach them their level 3 skills, but also have to teach them basic cheerleading, which is nice.
But I'm excited. I think this season is going to be our best one yet. I think that we're going to be really competitive. And I really think for the first time in the last 5 years that we've been at Mustang, I think we all have a shot at Summit. I think every single team, and it's hard because Blazers right now is just cursed. Not really,
Gosh.
But they are dealing with so many injuries, and Brandon is fixing to jump out of a window. Because they have 5 kids that are out?
Yeah, they have 5 kids that are out.
And legit injuries too. This isn't my finger hurts.
No, they've got broken feet and broken ankles and a broken finger and all 4 weeks at least.
They're legit out. Well, so they've been crossing athletes from other teams, some of the prep teams, and it's been working well to get the reps in. But besides that, when they're back, they're gonna be really good.
Like I said, I think we built our teams really well. I think our flyers this year are really strong. I think all of our bases are really experienced, and I think we placed kids exactly where they needed to be.
Yeah.
Which I think is something that we've always done in the past, but I think we were really hard on ourselves this year. So
I'm excited about it. All right, let's get into some of these questions.
Okay.
Should gyms be required to use concussion helmets when learning new stunts?
I think it's hard to require something countrywide because it's hard to keep tabs on it, but I do think it is beneficial. I know Brandon used them with Broncos when they were learning their new stunts. I think it's always good to have safety protocols in place, especially if you're doing things that are flipping or inverted or spinning or twisting or any kind of release. But I think it just needs to be up to the gyms.
Yeah, I don't think it should be required. Do I think you should have them in the gym?
Yes.
And I think that should be a requirement. But I do think that intuitively a coach should be able to look at their practice and see okay, is this date? You should be spotting, right? So if they're new stunts, you should be spotting. The coaches should be out there spotting the teams to make sure it's safe. But, when Brandon started using the helmets with the Broncos, it's because he said we were consistently falling to the floor. So that's when the helmets were implemented, and I think that's a smart way to do it. Required is a strong word, but I think you should have them required in the gym, and I think that you should have them ready and available for athletes that are A, nervous, or B, not consistently keeping their flyers safe.
Yeah, and I do know that I obviously this isn't all-star, but college level and essentially technically level 7, they do flipping baskets. They do things where if something goes a little wrong, it could be catastrophic. For the most part, within all-star cheer, everything's going to have some kind of a save. So I think, like you said, if there's a consistent error, then maybe that's something that a coach can require their athletes to do for a little bit. But it is hard because we also don't compete in helmets like football players do.
Right.
So you also have to teach your athletes to be able to do it safely so they can compete it in the future.
Yeah. So I think when you're learning, I think they should be in the gym, and I think that you can have them.
Yes.
But I guess it just depends.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be a law.
No.
Switching teams for better coaching environment. athlete has to learn a new position. 6 years old, mini one. I think that's interesting because let me just hit on the better coaching environment. I think that if your athlete is in a gym where you feel like the environment for them, they're not progressing and they're not building confidence and they're not getting better and ultimately they're not enjoying it, I think that's enough to switch gyms. Mm-hmm. If you've given it a shot, you've been with these coaches and you feel like this environment is just not for me or my athlete anymore and they're not progressing with their confidence, their skills, and it's not a good learning environment, I think that's one reason. Two, I think two, when you say has to learn a new position, I don't know if you mean they're like a flyer going to a base or a base going to a back spot, but that's common. That happens. So I don't think that's a reason to switch gyms unless you're really that pressed about like not being a flyer anymore or not being a back spot. Now you're a base, but that happens with age brackets and things when you move up or change teams.
I think also too, just to hit on like 6 years old mini one, when kids are at that age, like there's so much more room they're gonna all grow, so you're gonna probably do a couple of different things really until you're 12 or 13, and then you're either gonna be a base and probably stay a base, or you're gonna be a flyer and probably stay a flyer. And I think when you're so young, you have to just be open to adapting and learning new things, because like you said, you can do all kinds of different positions. I mean, we have kids that go from youth teams basing to junior and senior teams flying, and I think it just depends also on the need of the team and the need of the gym.
Exactly. Okay, so someone asked, ooh, this is a hot one.
Oh.
Crossovers, taking, tumbling, and jumping spots from other team members. I want to go in on this one because I'm a huge believer in this. I've seen this at gyms previously that I've worked at when I was younger, and they would bring in a crossover and they would make that crossover the center of the entire routine. And I think that's so disrespectful to everybody who's been on the team. Mm-hmm. When you bring in a crossover, it's to fill a need, mm-hmm. right? So right now we have an athlete that's broken her hand and she's out for 4 weeks. We pull him in to do her basing spots, maybe the tumbling spots, and fill in their spots. But I've seen coaches bring over like a level 5 crossover to a level 3 team, and then they make the whole routine around them. Mm-hmm. They make them center jumper. They make them the front dancer. They give them like new spots, basically. Yeah. They're not filling in anymore. Now they're giving them new spots. And I think that's so disrespectful to the team that's been on the team, that's been working hard, that's earned those spots, to bring in this other athlete from a different team or on the streets and just have them take over everyone's spots just because they're more talented.
But then I think on the other side, to play devil's advocate for that, let's say it's a crossover for the whole season, it's not a fill-in situation.
But this is a fill-in situation question. For a whole season, I think it's different. Mm-hmm. I think you're replacing an athlete. This is a crossover for a period of time, one competition.
Yeah, I think if it's for a little bit of time, I think they just take that athlete's role and then they're able to come out of it. I think as a coach, if you are needing more tumblers because maybe you don't hit your numbers or maybe you know your execution is scoring really low and that's something that you need to fill, I think that if you need to put those people there, you do that. But I do agree with you where no, you probably don't need to make your whole routine around that athlete because you probably should have put him there in the first place if that was the goal.
I think if it's a whole year situation, I think it's different. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that kid's no longer a crossover. They're a part of the team.
That's true.
They're joining the team.
Yeah, they're double teaming.
Yeah. Okay, someone asked, small flyer versus experienced flyer.
I would think experienced flyer. And I think it depends on the size of your bases and your back spots. If they can put that flyer up and they can excel and do well, I think that's always your better option. At the same time, if your bases are really small and you can't safely put up your experienced flyer, then you just have to do what you have to do sometimes. Yeah.
What do you tell families when they have really small flyers, but we always say sometimes the smallest flyers, people say they fly heavy. Mm-hmm. And because they can't lock out their leg and they don't hold their weight and they don't stand up. And even though they might be the smallest flyer on the team, they fly like the heaviest flyer on the mm-hmm. team. Like, what do you say to families in that situation?
I think I would tell families like, hey, look, we really are trying our best to put her up. She at home needs to work on pulling body positions on the ground, working on her confidence in the air. Because I think sometimes when smaller athletes struggle with flying in the air, it's because they are not confident doing things even on the ground.
Or they have little girl syndrome.
Yes. Or if they can pull a heel stretch, but they're not super flexible, but they're this big, like that doesn't help. Your bases are still fighting your flyer if they're not able to do things with ease in the air.
Yeah, and when I say little girl syndrome, it's a thing in the industry we say because these girls are so small, they're used to just being thrown around so they don't have to be good flyers. They can just throw their weight around because they can be lifted and held at prep and this and that. But once you start doing extended stunts on one leg, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yes.
No one's holding you but your ankle.
Oh, yeah. And and especially once you start getting to level 3, 4, and 5 and you start doing extended and body positions, if your body positions aren't easy for you on the floor, they're going to be really hard for you in the air because your bases essentially are fighting against you because you're fighting against your leg trying to hold it.
The experienced flyer thing, I think the East Coast is really good about this. I think the East Coast, Cheer Extreme, ECE,
Shooting Stars,
a lot of those gyms, they put up experienced flyers.
Yeah.
They put up what I like to say real size flyers. And it's because they have such good experience and it's because they're such good flyers. But do you think it's how experienced the flyers are or how experienced the bases are or a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of both. I think if you are a strong enough base and you can teach your bases to do things with correct technique and you're training their strength and their conditioning, they're going to be able to put up anybody.
Yeah.
So I think it's both. I think also if you have flyers that have really good technique, that also makes it easier. So I think it's definitely a combination of both things. And I think it's also a combination of really good coaching.
I do. But I do think, like you said, one thing about Mustang is at our gym, I can speak for our gym, is that we have very small athletes, period. Our kids are very athletic, but very thin and very small. They're short. Like, they're just small human beings. I don't know what's in the water in the Park Cities or out here in Dallas. But, it's harder to put up more experienced, taller flyers because they're so small. So it is relative to your team being able to make sure you can put them up, because if two kids are exactly the same height and weight, it's really hard to hold them. I understand there's 4 people holding them. It makes it easier, but
when you're doing the tricks that you have to do, I mean, I was in that situation when I cheered. My first year of All-Star, I was a flyer. I was 15. And then my second 2 years, I was on a senior team. So obviously there were kids that were 18 and bigger than me and older than me. But it was just something that I noticed, and I was like, I'm way taller than these 12-year-olds on this team. So it was almost, it's not necessarily a confidence blow. It's just taking on a different role on the team and just knowing that no matter what you do in your routine, it's important and you're going to have a spot no matter what. And just being able to take that with grace, I think, is also another just level of maturity in cheerleading and learning different roles.
Yeah, because a lot of flyers, we see this go through like an identity crisis where they've flown their entire career and now they're too tall to fly or whatever the reason might be. They're not as flexible anymore. As they get older and stronger, they lose their flexibility. How do you think athletes work through that identity crisis?
I think,
is it just like you said, the maturity of being like, sometimes it feels like it could be embarrassing to be like, okay, I have to base now. Everyone's going to look at me and be like, are you not flying anymore? Are you a base now? And so like, is it the maturity of just working through that?
I think it's the maturity of working through it, but I think it's also, you just have to kind of give yourself grace to be like, hey, look, that's just not me anymore. And you have to be able to just accept that. And like I said, I loved to fly, but I also knew that when I was 16 and 17 and 18, I wasn't 12 anymore. So I wasn't 4 feet tall. So I think it's just, you have to just accept that that's your new role. And I actually loved basing. I think it was I think being a flyer made me into a better base because I knew what I liked when I was in the air. So it helps me with my grips. I was able to hold the foot tighter because I knew that that was what I liked when my bases held me.
Right.
But I think it is hard. It is a hard transition to be like, oh no, like this role I've done my whole cheer career, I don't do anymore. But it is also kind of freeing when you are like, you know what, I get to learn something new and take on a new
and I
role.
think that comes down to that maturity of it.
Yeah.
Just being confident in doing that. Okay, another question is it normal to not be able to contact coaches? Our gym doesn't allow us to.
I mean, as far as Mustang goes, we give our parents our cell phone numbers and we tell them to reach out because we try to be super transparent in everything that we do.
Yeah, but I'm going to cut in and just answer the question. It's absolutely not normal.
Yeah.
That is not normal. You should be able to contact the coaches that spend multiple hours a week with your children, and you should be able to ask questions, have conversations, talk about what's going on. That's not normal. Now, look, there are some gyms that don't want to give out their personal cell phone number, so they're like, email me.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I still think that's a little strange. I mean, I don't know. I think we work with people's children. I think we accept all this money from them for the gym fees and private lessons and all this stuff, but we're going to be like, don't text me.
No, I get that.
Don't call me.
Yeah.
That seems really weird to me. Again, I respect the email thing. People, I don't have kids. I'm not married. So I do a lot of cheerleading, obviously. So I understand when, people are married and have kids in their own lives, like, email me. Please don't text my personal phone number, especially if you're at a large program and you coach 5 teams and whatever, and people take advantage of it. But no contact is crazy.
It is a little weird because, like you said,
no contact at all is crazy.
It would be crazy because, like you said, we spend so much time with these people's kids and we essentially are like helping raise them. Even with our own gym, sometimes we're spending more time with them than their parents are. And so that's just such a pivotal part of their life. They got to be able to talk to you.
Yeah, so definitely not normal.
No.
Like, absolutely not. Okay, so someone said top 5 favorite D2 gyms.
Ooh, that's potential.
Let's combine and do 5.
Okay. I don't know if I could do them in order. Just top 5.
No, just top 5 in general. I'm going to go with, you go first.
Can I say Mustang? Because I love us.
No, you can't pick us.
Main Stars.
Why?
Because I think their routines are super creative. I think their uniforms are really cute. And I think they're always really successful at competitions.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the LV Cheercats.
Oh, yes. I love them.
I really like them because, I love the owners and I love their coaches. Their kids are always really nice and they are really talented. They put out junior 5s. They have great junior 3s. And I swear one of their coaches told me they don't have AC. So in the summers, they have to practice at like 7 a.m. or something. So I think that's cool.
And that's crazy because Las Vegas is like 120
Yeah, that's why they have to
degrees.
practice so early. But I just think they're a really cool gym and really talented also.
Okay, let's see.
That's 2.
So that's 2. I'm trying to think. There's so many good D2 gyms.
But just your favorite. It has nothing to do with success.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I'll go.
Okay.
United Elite.
Dang it, I was going to say them.
I love United Elite. And I'm going to take away just from even their success because they are so talented and so successful. But I really love Dawson. I love Trevor and Amber. And I love a lot of their coaches. I think that they are really hardworking. I think they take a lot of heat for a lot of their routine styles and the cleanliness, and people call it boring or whatever. But they just continue to keep pushing. They do it with a positive attitude. And on top of that, they also make the adjustments.
Yeah.
Even Dawson was like, we've added more creativity. We've added more of this into our routines. And I think that's really cool and big of them to be like, okay, we hear the feedback, even though it's not reflecting on the score sheet.
Yeah.
They're still scoring really high, but they're like, you know what? Let's keep up with the times.
Yeah.
Let's make the adjustments. Let's make our routines more fun. And I think that's really cool that they're open to doing those things.
Well, and I think you can also tell, like, I feel like the last couple of years, like, even we've noticed, like, the routines are so much more fun. And we've liked to watch them, and they're always super clean.
Yeah.
Okay, I think...
Number 4.
Number 4, I think Thunder Extreme.
Ooh, I love Thunder. I forgot about them. On the spot, it's hard, but I love Thunder Extreme.
No, Thunder Extreme, because some of the same reasons, like, we obviously are really good friends with their coaches and their owners. They've always been really good competition for us. They always push us to make our routines better. We're almost always in divisions with them, and it's really fun to go head to head with them and go back and forth. But their teams are always really successful. They're fun to see at competitions, and their kids are always really cool.
I love them. I love Ashley. They're just a great gym. They're a solid gym. They're fun. They're competitive, and they always have like good attitudes.
Oh, always.
All right, let me think of last one, number 5. I want to think of what?
It's a big moment.
I know it is a big moment. I want to think of a good gym that I love competing against. Oh, Odessa Extreme.
Oh my gosh,
gym.
yes.
I absolutely love Odessa Extreme. They're so fun. We go out there, we do work with them. They're super talented. They kill it. I wish they came to more Dallas events.
Also, their gym setup is really cool.
Yeah, they have the coolest gym setup. And they're just awesome. They're in the middle of nowhere in Odessa.
And they're still successful.
Yeah, and they've got synergy.
Stop.
They've got like this movie theater thing. Look up Synergy if you've never heard of it. But they're super successful. They're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's like oil field, Synergy, and Odessa Extreme. That's it.
That's all you get.
That's all you get out there. You drive by, blink, and you'll miss it. But they're super awesome, so I love them.
Yeah, good kids, good program.
Is it hard with no Kellogg's at Mustang?
Oh, so hard.
Terrible.
We miss the Kellogg's.
We do miss the Kellogg's. I know, Hallie and Taylor. It's weird. But you know what? How do you feel when you have athletes that you've worked with for a long time in general and they just move on? Whether it's to a different sport like Taylor or to a different program. Like, how do you... I think a lot of coaches have a hard time coping with that, especially in these smaller towns or these smaller programs.
Yeah.
How does a coach deal with that? We've done it a lot, obviously, but how does a coach deal with that?
I think it's super bittersweet because I think it's always sad to see them go. But I think you just have to remember that these are kids and they're going to do what makes them happy, just like we did when we were growing up. We did the things that made us happy. And so I think the best way to deal with it is just to be really excited for them and their endeavors, and whatever they do next, just keep cheering them on because they are kids. I mean, we play such a big role in their lives that they really look up to us. And I think that the way we react to them moving on or moving on different sports, it really does weigh heavy on them. And so I think if you can just keep being super supportive and just be really excited for them no matter what happens, they're going to always just receive that really well. And parents always really like that too because they want to know that you're going to support their kid past the uniform that they're wearing. Yeah,
I think that's what's really important. I've always told people I build relationships with families, not uniforms. And I think that that's super important because you're training these kids. And if you truly want what's best for them, sometimes switching gyms or going to different sports is what's best for them.
Yeah.
Whether they outgrow your gym because you don't have the levels for them anymore, whether they just want to change a pace, whether it's friends. But if you truly care about the family and you care about the kids, you're going to want what's best for them. And if they move on, that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think we see a lot of coaches and gym owners in our industry that once a family leaves, they're like dead to them.
Yeah.
They're just like, they never existed.
And it is kind of sad because you do play such a big role. I mean, a family could be with you. I mean, like the Kellogg's for 4 and 5 years. And then I couldn't even imagine not ever speaking to them again because I love the kids. I could never talk to Hallie again. I love the family. Oh my gosh. Love the kids. I love the family. Like those ties are so much stronger than any uniform they'll ever put on.
Okay, last question.
Okay.
What comp is the most exciting to coach at and which one is the scariest to coach at?
NCA, I think, is the most exciting. Just because it's so big. It's so much fun. I mean...
I agree. I think NCA is the most exciting because it's also like old school.
Oh, yeah.
So you just, as you know, you grow up as a coach competing at it. It's easier to win now. Let's be real.
Yeah.
It's gotten easier to win. There's a lot more divisions. I don't want to say easy, but it's
not more, easy, but it's easier.
It's more common. Yes. It's easy. The divisions aren't as big. But it is still such a fun competition and everyone comes, so it feels like a high school reunion.
That's what I was gonna say. I think it's so much fun because like when you go to Summit, you obviously don't see the Worlds teams, and when you go to Worlds, you don't see the Summit teams. And so when you're at NCAA, you see everybody from tiny level 1 all the way up to Worlds level 6 and level 7, and it's cool to like watch your team compete, and then your kids get all excited to go to the arena and watch the Worlds teams. And yeah, you see all of your coaching friends, and the setup is always great. So it's so fun.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And I think the scariest is still Summit.
Yeah.
Just because it is so hard.
I think it's scary. I think Summit's scary because it's so hard, but it's also, you have this like looming overhead thought of you have one shot. Like you might not compete tomorrow.
Yeah, you might not make finals. I think for us it's scary too because we travel so far. NCAA is always here in our backyard, and even this year it's in Houston. But Summit, we get on planes and we fly down, and it's expensive. So the family sacrifice a lot to be there. At the end of the year, it's usually your last competition. So the magnitude of it makes it so scary.
Yeah,
and everybody is good. I mean, you have to be invited to go.
Yeah,
you have to have won a competition or scored high enough to get a bid, and that's scary. Especially when you see all the paid bids that are in your division and stuff.
gosh.
And then
Yeah,
you're like, and imagine when you're in wild card and you're like, what if we don't get out of the wild card round? It's like Friday afternoon.
Oh yeah, Friday afternoon. You still have your whole weekend, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh cool. Yeah, I think it is. There's just so much that rolls into it between like earning a bid. It's your last competition. Like it's obviously the hardest one. The divisions are so huge that to know it only comes down to literally one routine. Like it just freaks you out. Like
Yeah,
and it freaks you out as a coach too. I can't imagine. I mean, obviously I was a kid that competed at Summit, but yeah, it's hard. That's a hard
Yeah,
one.
it's definitely scary. But all right, well that's it for this Q&A.
Well, this was so fun. This was so fun.
Yeah, that was good. It was good stuff. Love the questions, guys. Keep them coming. We enjoy it. We'll probably, again, if we don't have a guest, we'll probably start doing this once a week, and maybe you can keep joining us. Because I think it's more fun to get a little back and forth, get some different opinions instead of me just sitting here in a dark room by myself. But it's going to be a good season. I'm excited. And next week we're going to be doing full out, so maybe if we don't have a guest, we'll follow you up on that.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.